I'm Stacey Holmes, and this is Glordinary, a few moments where we celebrate God's glory and champion the ordinary. I'm glad you're here. Right now, time feels short, and my list feels long. Correction, time is short, and my list is long. For some reason, it takes a mom infinitely longer to pack for a family vacation than a dad. I said what I said. That doesn't mean the dads don't help. It just means the proverbial hamster wheel never stops wheeling when mama's packing the family for a trip. Did I get everything? What am I forgetting? I'm curious if you, like me, pull away from the house with that nagging feeling that you've forgotten something. It always reminds me of the classic Home Alone scene when Mrs. McAllister jolts up and yells, "Kevin!" You gotta love when Uncle Frank comes in clutch with, "If it makes you feel any better, I forgot my reading glasses." And whether you forget your reading glasses or a child when leaving on vacation, these are what I would call gaps. Maybe it's a gap in a packing list, or maybe you, like me, feel the bigger gaps in your life, in your kids' lives, in the lives of those around you. Gaps. The places we're underdeveloped, the experiences we lack, the things we haven't learned yet. Gaps. The conversations we don't quite know how to navigate, the relationships we're still learning how to make, how to build, the places we wish we were braver, wiser, better. Gaps. Right now, with the countdown ticking until college move-in day, my husband John and I are hyper aware of the gaps. Before our daughter leaves for college, what do we want to make sure that she knows? It's a strange in-between space. We're painfully aware of the clock and what seems unfinished. It's an ever-present conversation between us. Did we show her how to tip a server? How to schedule her own appointments, how to call AAA and wait for roadside assistance. Wait, hang on, scratch that one off, courtesy of a flat tire last month. Honestly, life has a way of exposing our gaps. Gaps in our parenting, gaps in our relationships, gaps in ourselves. I mean, how can we possibly prepare ourselves, our children, for, well, everything? The hard conversations, the tricky relationships, the big decisions, the challenges, the curveballs undoubtedly coming one day. Because it's easy to be hyper-focused on the gaps. Easy to spiral pretty quickly too, into the unknowns, into the what-ifs, into the woulda, coulda, shoulda of all the gaps. But history shouts louder than our fears. And that's why I'm grateful for the gap filler and Nehemiah 4. Nehemiah tells us the story of a people painfully aware of the gaps. It's a story where we see the Jewish people rebuilding the wall in Jerusalem after a long exile from their home. And that wall, it's full of broken spaces, weak spots, unformed places in the foundation. There's gaps, and the gaps aren't just surface level, kind of like in me, and I'd suspect kind of like you too. Because you see, gaps matter. They're not simply a blemish, an ugly or unfinished spot in the quote-unquote wall of our lives. Just like for the people in Nehemiah 4, a gap could mean certain disaster, catastrophic to the safety and serenity of the people within. Gaps left the Israelite people vulnerable, exposed, unprepared. Because gaps tend to be much deeper than surface level, and boy, can I relate to that. I see the broken spaces, weak spots, the unfinished places in me and my foundation at times too. I see it in me and I see it around me. And when we stare at our gaps long enough, or rather our gaps stare back at us, we can easily feel the crushing weight of discouragement, despair, and, well, not enoughness. Cue Nehemiah 4:7. It says this, "But when Sanballat, Tobiah, the Arabs, the Ammonites, and the people of Ashdod heard that the repairs to Jerusalem's walls had gone ahead and that the gaps were being closed, they were very angry." Did you catch it? Smushed in the middle of Nehemiah 4:7 is one tiny, powerful phrase. It's so little, yet there it is. The gaps were being closed. Let me read it one more time. But when Sanballat, Tobiah, the Arabs, the Ammonites, and the people of Ashdod heard that the repairs to Jerusalem's walls had gone ahead and that the gaps were being closed, they were very angry. Now notice a few things here in Nehemiah 4:7. First, what it doesn't say. It doesn't say the gaps were ignored. Doesn't say the gaps were excused. It doesn't say they were instantly fixed, immediately better, instantaneously resolved. No, the gaps were being closed. Steady. One foot in front of the other. Growth. In fact, they spent 52 days rebuilding the wall, closing the gaps. And P.S., you might recall also the Israelites knew a thing or two about how to make bricks. I guess nothing really is ever wasted. So if we see what Nehemiah 4:7 doesn't say, what does it say? Well, it says growth makes the enemy grouchy. The Israelites' enemies didn't mind the gaps. They were perfectly fine with Jerusalem in ruins. They didn't mind the broken places, the weak spots, the unfinished work. In fact, they downright liked the gaps. Nehemiah 4:7 tells us they became angry when the gaps were being closed. Friend, maybe today you're feeling discouraged. You might feel delayed. You might feel like a total train wreck, hot mess express, dumpster fire, you name it. Maybe you're not sure how you'll possibly make it through today, let alone this life. But maybe, just maybe, that gap is actually evidence of our very good God doing what He does best, finishing the good work He began in you and in me. Just like Philippians 1:6 tells us, being confident of this, that He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Because while it's true that gaps might be an opening for attack, gaps are also access for the gap filler. Gaps are a precursor for growth, and you only grow when there's room to grow, when there's a gap. Friend, you might find yourself today overly aware of the gaps in your life. It's okay, me too. But I'm reminded today that Nehemiah 4:7 is a stake my life on this kind of verse. The gaps were being closed. It's not a hope, it's not a dream, it's not a hashtag goals. It's a good and generous God, the gap filler, lighting the way, leveling the path, leading us toward growth. And should this even surprise us, He quite literally bridged the gap that we never could with outstretched arms on a cross. If He did that for you, for me, I'm pretty sure we can trust Him to close all the other gaps we see in our lives today. So stake your life on the truth of Nehemiah 4:7. The gaps were being closed. Thanks be to God. Remember, you're not alone in this. I'm praying for you, friend. Have a glordinary day.